Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Well, it looks almost for sure that new all-time highs must be just ahead for this stock market, as amazing as that might seem, unless there's some immediate reversal within the next few days. It just seems like there's nothing that can really shake this market, and that's where it's headed. So where it goes from there, nobody knows. It would seem that, hey, even if it gets to this, let's assume this 300 level up here, that's got to be a giant resistance area. And look, we'll take to see what happens at 290 first and the old highs. But the price action at this time suggests that it's just going to keep going up. Like, that's the target. It had its chance to turn down over here, just expanding that. The rest of that makes no difference whatsoever. And in reality, none of this makes any difference whatsoever at this point. It's all about this congestion area right here where prices consolidated at resistance, and we had the red bar ignored, the topping tail ignored, and then the gap up this week, which so far it's still a relatively narrow range day. And looking at the daily charts, you can see the rounding kind of bottom and the attempts on the not attempts, the actual buys on the dips, which personally I didn't think it was going to hold after this super bearish reversal, this big up day that was there and followed by this giant down day. But that's why this market is schizophrenic, as I call it. It's amazing. And its ability to move higher after the break that we had last year. And so we've had a couple of consolidation days, and now this jobs report is out, and the market's pushed higher. It'll get a clearer view when we look at the futures. And so just looking at this 60-minute chart, as I always do, I look at patterns and what they suggest, and I look at the bars right at the moment. And one of the things that I see here, just to be objective about what's happening, here's a resting area. I know it's pre-market and on lighter volume, but let's just consider the pattern here as I do look at every historical pattern. It was a resting period here. So then it breaks out. And why the tail on the top? And while it's not a big tail, it's a tail. Why didn't it close up near the highs? So there's some selling on the advance. The big support is down here at 287.50. If it breaks down below there, well, it opens up the door to the gap fill, and then who knows where. But just looking at things from a longer term perspective, it looks like it's going higher. Short term, I look at this and say, there's a little bit of a pattern that says just be careful. Don't get too wildly bullish because of these time frames if you're considering intraday trades. Wait and see what is going to unfold here. And so at the open, we'll just look at what's happening on a smaller time frame, the 5-minute. And so there's the push up. And so what I'd want to see initially is it hold around this area, maybe a bottoming tail bar, something to kind of show that what's happening there, that back off so far is now being bought on the dip, and then we go higher. So we'll see when this bar completes itself. For the Qs, well, they're not pushing up above these highs here, but still bullish pattern, the same on the weekly and the daily, obviously a little different, but even closer to the all-time highs up there, and the same march up and ignoring of red bars and so on. So, but still the back off at some resistance. So, buyers are a little hesitant on the move up, a little bit of profit taking, climbing the wall of worry, saying as it goes, but until it actually breaks some level of support, the assumption is that it goes higher. The Russell, just kind of stalled there, chopping around at that resistance. So a little divergence between markets. This has moved up quite nicely. rather choppy, but nonetheless, it's moved up. And that was a concern where lower high, lower lows, and now 100% retracement of the last decline. And so the weekly looks like it can go up. And a lot of times the Russell and the transports play what we call catch up. And so the transports have already been doing that. We'll see what the reaction is to the Russell up at this prior high. And there's the transports taking out the prior high there just marginally and backing off. You can see the topping tails. And this is what we call bar by bar analysis. You know, it's going up, wide range bar coming up into an area of resistance after multiple bars up, suggests a stall in the momentum. And we got a stall in the momentum. It didn't produce a decline. And I've been saying this every day. The first reference point of support is the prior bar's low. Topping tail says it's going lower. No, it didn't. We got a green bar. Well, now we've got 2 bars, 3 bars about in the same area. So that creates a pretty significant short-term reference point of support. So a breakdown below 191 in the transports is something to pay attention to on a short-term basis. Futures, let's start with the Dow. Just marching up, breakout, new all-time highs. Well, not far off. So consolidation at resistance, same thing. So when we talk about consolidations, right, here's the resistance area. And we discussed this in the room the last couple of days as it related to, I guess, the oil. I even mentioned it pre-market. So here's this resistance area. And while it's not exactly the same, but look, this one here moved up, a little consolidation, and then kind of raced up a bit with a wide range bar into the prior resistance, that high there. Now we've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 week consolidation, and now it's pushing up. And of course, I'm assuming that, today being the last day of the week, that this is going to close like this for now, because if it closed with a topping tail bar, especially a red one where the body is down here, we're going to have a completely different picture and change of our opinion. Well, that's the power of bar by bar. Right now, this bar is not complete. And at the end of the day, we'll know its full meaning. And if it closes that way, it suggests, because of this consolidation, it's going through the all-time high. So while it might stall there, this resting period should result in a move above that resistance. It's the same thing when I talk about this resting period, even though it's an hourly chart, and the tail here is not as large as what we saw in the S&P. Why the tail? So it's not breaking lower, but I look at that and I say, it should have closed near the high because it consolidated. Now, so far, this bar's got some time to go in it, and you can see 46 minutes, but it could be a 1, 2, 3, and there it goes off there, and the tail there then becomes something of the past and part of my thought process analysis that now dissipates because nothing happened from it. So step-by-step thought process, just going through, multiple time frames, bar by bar, support and resistance, pivot highs and lows. And we discussed this earlier in the week. Look, there's no pivot lows. Right? Well, this could have resulted in a little poke below that bar, and it would have created one, but that didn't happen. Now, the message here is that the demand is so strong, the trend doesn't even pivot within this time frame. Qs, we have similar patterns, right? The futures here is an area of resistance, but the old all-time highs are within striking distance here. So that's where this chart says it's headed, up to there and beyond, to where, new all-time highs. There's no resistance or no reference point. And step by step, first prior bars low, right? This is the current bar. Here's our first support on the daily time frame. Now that it made a new higher high, I should say, major support is down here. And now if it pulls back, we just assess how much it retraces. If it's really strong, it's not going to retrace very much. It's not going to retrace at all. That bottoming tail should be enough to now propel this to start to move higher, or at least hold here. Maybe today's an inside day since we've got this chop. We'll see. That's what we always do. It's pre-market. We'll see what unfolds after 9:30. S&Ps, similar pattern there. The tail on the top, so far the inside bar, the consolidation, resistance over here, looks like it's going higher. Bonds flat. That's stabilizing. Right, so here is a consolidation. Right, same type of analysis. Breakdown failure, consolidation, right? Shakeout, went higher. It's pulled back enough, maybe a little bit too much, but it's pulled back enough to where buyers should want it. Right? What was resistance should become support. There's your reaction to the resistance, and here's your immediate reference point that's directly to the left. This is your subjective reference point. The minor support beyond was to the left. Internals, since I'm working from a different computer, I don't know if I have them on here. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. You can see this is headed down to this 0.80 level, and breadth is coming up to 100. If today stays strong and should move up, right, this is just the day-to-day. And if we get an up day here, it appears that's what's going to happen, and we push up there, oh, it's going bananas. This will come lower, right? This is actually breadth. It's not sentiment. So we'll see where this ends, and I'll update it in the letter over the weekend, and we'll do it for you here on Monday. We'll see where it's at. So that's where our internals are. We could say that, hey, there's a little gas left in the tank to get to this extreme, but we know that we're in the area, right? So being in the area is enough. We don't look at support, resistance, these numbers as having to be ultimately, it has to get there. Right? That's why I have these adjustable bands. It just tells me that I'm close. I'm in the area of risk for longs is rising. And ultimately, we go back to price. Does it break below the low? All right. So look, if today winds up being a gap up and a drop and closes down 284, that's a bad sign. This dog is having a blast all by itself. Barking at it's this flexible playpen that it's destroying right now. Crude oil, the real bull market here. Not to say that equities aren't the way it's moving up, but just such a nice controlled uptrend, consolidation, bottoming tail bars on the dip down to the 20 and so on, and the consolidation above the 200 here now. So it just looks like it's got to go higher. And we don't deny that, even though things may get extended. If it's trading bullishly and it's got room to go higher, stay with the bias that it's going to go higher until something changes. What could change? Big nasty red bar, so this is bullish price action. And I've said it many, many times. What the hell is going on with these energy stocks? They're still consolidating. That oil going up is supportive of them going up. And right now they're just chopping around. But I've got my alert up here on these different energy ETFs. You can see the oil services there chopping around, oil and gas chopping around. They just can't get going. But let the computer watch it. Lastly, gold. All right, down at major support. Buyers are stepping up here. So far, the candle bodies are down at the bottom of the wide range bar, but buyers are giving it a shot here. If they can get through this area, well, then they can try and attack whatever resistance there is up there, which probably isn't a whole heck of a lot. And so this is the concept of the void. And everybody's asking me, Greg, what is a void? It's just a word, right, that is meant to explain that there's little to no overhead resistance. So when we look at charts like this, one of the things that I struggled with, many struggle with, how far to the left do I look? What's meaningful? And you see all this and you think that prices can't go up. But in reality, it's not about this. It's about this. And if it can clear this area here, right, you've got the support that's been created. This is the bottoming tail right here. That's that bottoming tail bar. There's the other one. So if it can clear, right, pivot highs and pivot lows in opposition of each other is a trading range. It's confusion. I'm not so sure this can go lower. I want to buy the dip. It's cheap. This becomes resistance. If it can clear here, well, buyers that are standing on the sidelines waiting to see if it can prove itself are going to step up. Those that bought here are going to add to positions. And then as it pushes up, well, there's a level here, there's a level here, but that's your void. Rapid price movement and consolidation over time. Right? So all of this mess here, I call it, it's been neutralized, by the prices trading down through it like this, and buyers are stepping up. So all of that explanation is supposed to give you an objective reason why you might consider trading, which, let's say it's not the greatest long setup, but it's a setup that suggests it could go up and attempt to go back up again, right? And kind of like here, collapse, chopping around. This probably looks something like that when it was back there. And then it ground higher, where you would think, hey, it's not possible. So there's the lesson for a Friday. Hope that goes into the memory bank of helping you profit in the markets for a lifetime beyond what our bias is for the day here. That being said, I hand it over to Mr. Gibby.
All right, thank you. Good morning. And being Friday, we love selling options on expiration day. So if they set up, we'll buy them. Open positions, CGC, we still have a call spread. CPRT, we're still long a third stock with a tighten stop. FMD, we're still long a third, maybe 2/3. AMT is a bear 1, 2, 3 that has not triggered yet, but it's still fine. AMAT, covered call. KWeb, short put. Triple M, covered call. Zallo, long stock. Look at that beautiful base on the 15-minute chart. That looks like an ad over the high. Looks great. All right, yeah, I didn't see much volume, but I see one print down here. But that's all right, we got our stop in place. We'll just let it play out. Tesla, we had a beautiful trade yesterday for a put spread that we closed in 1 hour. And then we put on a new one for next week. Boeing, we put on a put spread. That looks great. Looks like it had a little gap here this morning, another gap reversal. That's a sign of strength. I mean, this thing could come all the way to this gap fill, 410, 415. It's kind of a sideways looking reverse head and shoulders with this breakdown in the middle. And we nailed it right there. This gap day right there was when we started our put spreads again. Allstate, long stock, Insight, bear call spread, STZ, we had a 1-day put spread, or short put rather, for nice profits. CHD broke out here yesterday, so I got that on my list. PCH, I have on my list, reverse head and shoulders, bullish daily. I would like it better if it didn't have that tail right there, but you got to deal with what we got. in Tilray, short stock. It's a little bit of that's a bullish pre-market now, gapped up and going sideways. So we'll have to decide, you know, yesterday we talked about it was so bearish that we would sit through a pullback. Now we're in around 62.50. So we got to open $1. What do we do? Do we keep our stop yesterday's high? Move to break even? I don't know. Play it by ear. Arna here. We missed some of these pot stocks. Capra here I like. If it can go sideways and take out Wednesday's high. ACIA. Oh, we have a covered call in ACIA also. Fleur. No entry. ABR. We missed our entry, but it was right over the high of this bar. BLL. I've been watching here. It's extended weekly. Nothing to do now. Harvest. Another pot stock, but Alex said this was a over-the-counter stock, which I don't like. IIPR. This was the one, remember, Trader? We were about to sell naked $70 puts, and then they were playing games with the quote on us. You were the funny one yesterday. I said, look, we can sell it at 60 cents, midpoint, and you're boom, that was you. So that I still want to keep an eye on. I wish it was tighter, but I can't give that official. Let's look at some gappers now. 76.50. That is nasty gap. When you have to go to your weekly and the monthly to find where that number is, wow, that's ugly. Sam Beer Company, 269. That's ugly. There's support there, but it's ugly. Let's put him in a window. Boot. Oh, that's a bullish pullback, 31.80. It's excessive gap, but it's a very bullish one. Look, this is a big old bull flag here. Daily, weekly. That was a beautiful pattern. Trove, penny stock toy, no interest. Wi-Fi, I just found this one yesterday, so I was watching it to see maybe if we get a 1, 2, 3, then we can trade it on Monday. SIG had earnings yesterday, did nothing. But if it can get over yesterday's high, then it will negate both of these tails, and then maybe the weekly will get going. COP, you know, we don't short after moves from the high to the low, but the weekly looks ugly. We'll see how far that can bounce. There's our little Bitcoin. ETF, Riot. That turned sloppy. WBA, I like watching these, you know, big caps when they get killed. Satish was one we were watching on this gap breakout day. So on Monday, it can go sideways for a while. I still like the weekly. Autodesk needs to, there's the chid having a window. Calm here. A trader that came from one of your lists. And I like it. That looks great. Teradyne, I have as a 1, 2, 3 just day trade. It's up 5 bars, slowing momentum, so you surely can't swing it. But day trade, as long as the, yes, it is. So let's just look at what entry. I mean, over the week's high, yes. If you wanted to do it a little beforehand, I need more time to see what it does in the first 30 minutes, timed with the market. But I put it in a window here. So I'll watch it too, but yes, it looks very good. That is a beautiful multi-month consolidation. after that big old gap. Shiva's asking about EDU, but Shiva and some others, if you can put your drop down to all panelists and attendees, please. It's extended, it is holding, but it's not holding in a convincing manner to me. So it would just kind of be a day trade. It has a little, nice gap here from a reverse head and shoulders on the 15. So 5-minute high, Shiva, I like it for a day trade.